because there's certain girl, like, I don't know if you want to talk about, right? Remember, like, the girl from
you don't have to say names, but
the girl, but from a different, she wasn't even from America.
Yeah.
Well, because here's the thing. This advice has not helped him, so I just want to...
Don't say that. Don't make him feel bad.
From Mr. Broke Productions, in an association with Maximillionaire and Vice City Kingpin, present to you Life on Easy Mode. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Life on Easy Mode podcast. Today we are here with another guest. Already messing that up. Who I've known for a while now. I've known him for a few years. I used to work with him back at Taco Bell. He's a person who has had some controversial things happen in his life, but nonetheless has been trying.
Nothing bad. Nothing like...
No. Controversial, to say the least. We can be honest here.
All right, don't want to give them like the...
No. So, anyways, our guest today is none other than Jumanne Struggle. Jumanne, welcome. Thank you for coming.
Actually, it's just Jumanne. Struggled is kind of like a brand thing, but it's But yeah, I knew Nick for a very long time. But it's been about a few years. Got a good relationship with him, and glad to see you doing good, and glad to be here, and just be part of the podcast.
Yeah, we're glad to have you. If you want, you can take maybe 2 minutes or so to give yourself some time to introduce yourself, a little synopsis of who you are, what you're all about.
Okay. All right. So most people would know me as either the guy that the CVS employee that committed a crime that vandalized Rite Aid. I said fuck Rite Aid, CVS bitch. But either that or, I did a video where I said, rest in peace, Pop Smoke, and that turned into a meme, which went viral on TikTok. So that's what most people will know me as. I'm kind of just a regular guy that, troubled with trying to find himself in life as a person, and just got stuck. I'll say overall at just dead-end job, just not really sure what direction I'm going in life, and being very confused, very lost, very angry, very depressed, and a lot of the things that I did was trying to find a short way out, whether it was trying to go viral, doing music videos at Taco Bell, at Subway. Years later, ended up doing more controversial things because I felt like, what I was doing wasn't working, and I just was very unsure about just myself, and a lot of the decisions that I made reflect that. So so that's where I'm kind of at. I figure that's where most people will probably see me. I'm just a person that's just a guy that's really just trying to grow, and still trying to figure it out. So I'm 28 years old, from Providence, Rhode Island, and just trying to figure life out.
Yeah, that's definitely something we're all trying to do now, especially living in Rhode Island. This is not the best place to be. Not the worst, we don't have the worst weather.
Not the ideal place
it's not
to...
Ohio.
Yeah. Miguel, do you want to take a moment to explain to Jumanne how we have the questions set up and how we're going to do the questions?
So, Nikki, we have 9 questions in total. We might stray off a little bit if we get into a conversation, most likely. Nikki's going to take the first one, and then we'll just switch off every so often. Just try to answer as best you can. I mean, it's not like an interview. It is an interview.
Yeah. It's an interview, but I want this to be more focused on conversing rather than just, one question onto the next one.
It's more like not questions, but like talking points.
Yeah, you kind of just go with however flows.
We have 9 questions, but I'm not worried about going through all those. If we get through like 6 questions, as long as the conversation is good, we're just having a good conversation. That's all that matters, really. We don't have to worry about getting to 9 questions. So I'll start off with the first question. I usually do this with any person I interview. What is your life story? Your childhood, moving out of Rhode Island, stuff like that.
So I guess I would start, grow up in Providence, Rhode Island. I guess in order to explain, to get the understanding of how, where I'm at now, statistically, black kid, grew up in the hood, a lot of statistical things, single mother. So like overall, I would say like I would consider myself as a guy that, the environment that I grew up in, it was kind of, you're kind of influenced to make bad choices, like starting like 13, 14, gangs, all of that. I'm away from that at this point in my life, but when I was younger, I was a statistic, but I was a statistic that never really became a statistic. And what I mean by that, I never been in jail, obviously not killed, never been shot, stabbed, things like that. So that's like the beginning of just like, once I became 17, I wanted to play football. So I ended up going to college, which was, something that was different for me because I never really had anything, had any motivation to go to college for. So I went to community college in Rhode Island. But with college, it was more of like a financial thing. So that didn't work out. And then I slowly ended up, dropping out. Yeah, I say like my beginning is kind of like, it's kind of where the whole struggle thing is. Everyone struggles, everyone goes through problems. I just felt like my struggle was more based on my environment that's connected to my culture. That's, it becomes a racial thing too. So that plays a big part in like, damn, it's not just me. I look around me, it's my friends that, what I'm saying, this person, whether, a lot of different things I usually don't get into. But again, it was more of like, it's a lot worse when it's like, if it's me, it's like, okay, something's wrong with me, but then it's like everything around me too. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure a lot of people can read between the lines when I say like, what I was going through and things like that.
Right, because you grew up in an environment where that was just kind of the norm. That's kind of like what shaped you.
It's normal, and as I realized how much of a problem is like when you're going through it 14, 16 years old, you don't realize like it's not normal, to be 14 and someone get killed. Like that's not. And then, just overall the choices that you feel influenced to make, like none of that is normal. But it was normal, because it's embraced in hip hop, and you know what I mean. So that's things where I'm still fighting that now, where I'm like, damn, like and it kind of led up to like, there's a lot of things that led up to what I did, because even what I'm doing is not normal, but like compared to what a lot of people do. But I guess I would probably say is like, just to get into like the controversial videos when I start committing crimes, for me, I kind of said like whatever. I felt like I currently work at Subway. Just every job I ever had was a dead end job, and I was at a point where it's like, if I don't do this, I might end up doing something else. I might rob a bank or something, like not literally rob a bank, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I tried to sell drugs. Like that's not my thing, but I was at a point where I was making bad choices, where if like, I know I'm gonna go to jail, what am I gonna go to jail for? And that, and like I said, that's not normal, but for me, it kind of felt like, I was at that point where it's just like, nothing, man. I'm just going to make whatever choices, like, and
yeah. And it was like, you could, you're obviously a very intelligent guy. You're very well spoken. And you could probably detect that when you started doing things like drugs like that, you probably had that inner gut feeling where it was like, this isn't who I am. This isn't for me. Did you get that like immediately, or was that?
I knew that because I stayed away. Like, what I mean? Like trying to go to college was like a thing that, even working a job, 9-to-5 job, like, what I'm saying? Like I've been working, what I'm saying? I don't have a problem with working a job. I have a problem with working minimum wage. Because it's like, if I try to go apply for an apartment, even I'm working 40 hours a week, I might make like $1,200. I'm making like, I could pay, if the rent's $800, I'm making more than $1,000. I could probably pay the rent, but if I try to apply, I might not get approved, because depending on where you're applying, you might not get approved for that apartment. So like right now, I just filed for a Section 8, which which basically is government system to help you get an apartment. So things like that, which I didn't know I could apply for. But so yeah, just trying to find a way to, because I never wanted to be stuck. Like, there's times I thought about joining the military, but for me that was more like a dead end, where it's like, go getting a job at the post office or things like, people, you have to do something. But I go through a lot. I go through extreme depression, where it's like, I don't want to be stuck. Like, even though I'm already stuck at a job. Like, I didn't want to work at a job. Like, this is my career job. And like, this is like, in order for me to quit this job, I need to be doing something that's making more money or better. Like, I just never wanted to be, I always believed in myself. I guess like as a content creator, at first, I was, like I said, football, trying to, like regular kid trying to play football or trying to be a rapper or whatever. Now I'm just more focused on YouTube as a content creator. But I never wanted to do anything else. And that's the biggest problem with not just me, but people in my environment. A lot of these kids, like myself, that turn into adults, they don't have the structure or even the motivation to, be a plumber or something, or open, be some kind of entrepreneur to open up some kind of business. And even if they do want to open up a business, they might not have the resources to do it. And that was things that I was just like, I didn't know what to do. So I kind of, that's why I said sometimes someone like myself just falls, you just make bad choices. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of just the way of life for a lot of people, including myself.
Yeah, that's a lot right there.
Yeah.
But we had spoken off camera. You said to me that mentally you are doing better now.
Yeah, I'm doing better. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing better. Yeah, it's better, but still not good enough. Like I do, like people tell me like, obviously, like I've definitely had counselors growing up, you know what I mean? But there's nothing like, some people might think like there's nothing mentally wrong with me, you know what I'm saying? I just, I was clout chasing, trolling, whatever, bad choices. I do have a lot of aggression, a lot of pain, a lot of anger, which that can be, I don't know, people, depending on who you are, you might look at it like I said, if you don't know someone, it's easy to be like, well, this person's very violent, but you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I'm a chill person. Like, it's like, I have that side to me, but it's really dependent on how people treat me or how I feel like I'm being treated. So if I feel like, damn, life is not fair, and it's not fair for nobody, but I feel like, again, because of my circumstances and the people around me, like I'm like, damn, like I said, I don't know anybody most of the people I know, they're, you know what I'm saying, they're not they could be doing better, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, again, I felt like I felt trapped.
You had mentioned the stuff about like the viral videos. I want to get into that later, but first, I wanted Miguel to ask one of his questions.
You talk about struggle a lot. You would say that's part of your brand, right?
Yes, it's a brand I wanted to move away from, because when I first started this, so you know about the music video I did at Taco Bell. I did a music video at Taco Bell called Struggle.
I was gonna mention that because I did hear about that was it a few years ago?
A few years ago, yeah. And I don't think it's on YouTube anymore. I can only find the acapella version.
No, it's on the original, because it's on the original.
I do remember that vividly.
Yeah, I deleted all of it.
I do remember the music video at Taco Bell.
Yeah.
So you said you were trying to like go away from struggle. So
all right. So what I also got to talk about is so a lot of things, I got into a gambling addiction. So that plays a big part in why, like a real gambling addiction. Like I lost, like, it wasn't just I lost, like I was losing like $200-$300 whatever a week, my paycheck or whatever, but that addiction played a big part in like the impulses, like like addiction, like just gambling is just like, you know what I'm saying, like, so my impulses was a lot different, so my decision making became a lot different because I was losing things that I couldn't afford to lose. And again, my life was going down the drain. So that plays a big part in like where I felt like I needed to make something happen, and it needed to happen fast. So that's where like a lot of people don't understand, why would he do this? It's because, a lot of it was like, man, whatever, fuck it, I'm losing everything anyways. But yeah, so the struggle thing, it really just started with Taco Bell. I did a song called Struggle. That was it. That's all it was supposed to be, was just one song, one video. That was it. Over time, it became something more, because when I did that video had more impact than anything I ever did at that time. I got 5,000 views on YouTube, 10,000 views on Facebook. That's not a lot of views, but it was a lot of views for me. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, this is working, you know what I mean? So doing that video was kind of hard. It wasn't easy to pull that video off. I was lacking motivation and everything. So I figured like, all right, I need to do something else. You know what I mean? And I end up doing more videos. But overall, the video at Taco Bell, it didn't get me to the point where I felt like I needed to be or I wanted to be, nor a year later I ended up doing a video at Subway called Struggling. And that's when the brands start coming in, where the struggle, then I wrote a song called This Struggle, then This Struggled, and Struggling and Still Struggling. So it just became like music. I started that Taco Bell video started in 2016. 2017, Boot Gang, like this, I see him doing everything that he's doing. And I'm like, when I saw that and I saw the controversy behind it, I understood how he felt, like emotionally. Like it was like I don't agree with obviously what he was doing was wrong, but like I understood how he, you know, because when I watched his interviews, I'm like, yeah, like I get it, like I get it. And then I was feeling like I was in that position too, where sometimes it's like, if this is gonna work, or if I don't do this, then nothing's gonna work for me. So it's kind of some people feel like that. Some people like depression, suicidal, where nothing really matters. And you know, a choice like that isn't, you know, why not? You know what I'm saying? So it became, I figured that I go by Jumanne struggled, hoping that there's going to be people out there that they might see the videos and they might be like, yo, who is this guy? What is he doing? Well, I don't like him, da-da-da. But at the same time, the struggle part, maybe like, depending on how much, like I said, I'm the type of person where I try not to judge people if I don't fully know their story. The struggle part is supposed to be something for anybody that has an open mind might look at that and be like, well, maybe there's more to this guy than, but I don't know. The messages I get, it's like they don't care about that shit. So
yeah, internet can be a cruel place. They see like struggle and they just
don't
want to
care.
come.
They don't care. I had a guy tell me, he said, I hope you get more struggles. You know, more. They continue to struggle.
Yeah.
So it's just like I'm like, all right, like you know, all right.
The world is a weird place. My dad told me when I was younger that like, let's say you have a newspaper, right? If you post a story or whatever about a cat getting saved from a tree, you may get like a few people talk about it. That's cool. But if you have a fucking barn fire happening where like people died and it's just like a bunch of hell going on, everyone's gonna be talking about it. People like to see bad things happen. I don't know why that's how
that's
humans
just part
are.
of it. It's like the news. They, you know what I'm saying? Everything's controversial.
They emphasize on the bad things.
If you put a whole bunch of positive things up there, you know, nobody really wouldn't be as interested. It's like that. It's the controversy is what makes people get people's attention. And obviously I knew that and I was trying to sell that. And you know, that's just how we are as humans. You know what I mean? Like, it's bad. But
forgive the crumbling. Miguel went for a cookie that Jumanne was so nicely to bring over from
How's that
Subway.
diet going? That diet.
Now everybody know that
It's
Subway
on pause.
cookies are, you know.
I had Chick-fil-A cookies a few weeks ago. Those are pretty good too.
I
Yes,
never
they
had
are.
them. Never had them.
They're like a little. I don't know. They feel like they're more homemade, but these are good
they're
too.
like a little. Why are we talking about cookies?
I don't know. Why not talk about cookies?
Grab the cookies.
Whatever. They're like a little bit chewy, but they're not like the bad chewy.
Don't talk with your mouth full.
Okay.
If they're listening, they won't be able to tell.
Yeah, well, I warned them that he has his mouth open.
So you were talking about your music video at Taco Bell and like how you're making these other songs. Are you planning on making any more music?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's depression. So like my lack of motivation is like, I think I'm at a point in my life where I don't believe in myself. Like I've been like that for a long time. So it's like, when I post things, I might get like 100 views or, you know what I'm saying? Like whether like Instagram is my biggest platform. I can average 1,000 views on Instagram. But Instagram, I can't monetize. You can monetize it, but like YouTube, you can actually monetize. Like I can get the money. Like Instagram, you actually have to like, you know, sell, like do promotions or whatever. You got to do things. You got to sell merchandise. So at this point, there's a lot. I do want to do music. I want to do music. I want to do films. I just want to be a content creator. But I don't believe in myself. I don't believe that I can actually. I don't believe it's gonna work for me. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like that, and it stops me from doing something when you feel like it's kind of already over. So it's like I'm still trying to fight myself and like, no, I gotta keep moving forward. I gotta, you know, be optimistic. But you know, I'm gonna be honest with you, like, you know, so I'm getting older.
I heard about the Taco Bell music video. So why do you think you can't do it again?
The reason why you probably heard about the way I was promoting that, like it happened, like it worked, it did a lot, but I also put on a lot of energy. Like I used to, you know, take like pieces of paper, and I used to write my name, like Jumanne Struggle, or like Taco Bell music video, and like all the customers that came in, I used to always.
I remember you used to do that, yeah.
And it was it took so much energy though. You know what I'm saying? Like I used to promote to hundreds of customers, not just at that Taco Bell, but when I used to work in the mall, I used to do the same thing, and it wasn't working. Like it wasn't like I got a couple hundred views, but it wasn't. I was putting in a lot of energy. You know, and like I said, just doing the music video at Taco Bell, like trying to do a music video at your job, like I said, I had to pull strings to make that happen, where I felt like I was putting in way more work than I was getting back. And again, a lot of things is consistency. Mm-hmm. But again, like I said, I was going through, and I'm still going through a lot of personal things that stop me from being the best me. Because if you're like, for anybody that's probably going through depression, like, sometimes you're gonna be your biggest enemy, regardless of any controversy, any critics, any people could say whatever. But it got to a point where I'm kind of stopping myself too, because again, it's like just lost, I guess. You know what I mean? I don't know how to put it, but I'm trying. But then again, it's like I could try harder, but then it's like I feel like I'm not in the best position to be successful
with that. So I guess I'll ask this question: are you a kind of person who hates when it's too late? Are you a person that, like, when you feel like it's too late, you feel like you wish you'd done more? Are you a person?
Of course.
So, because I can get like that sometimes too, because kind of like you, I want to be an overall content creator, podcast, YouTube, live streaming.
He's trying to make music too.
Yeah, I'm trying to, not rap or hip hop, trying to do more like metal stuff. But when the time's right, when I have the time to actually do that, I'm going to try to do that. But, I get like that too sometimes, where it's like I don't have the motivation for whatever reason. I just don't want to do it. Maybe I come home from work, I just don't want to do it. My thing is, even if it doesn't get you to the most successful point you want, I would still say just to go for it. I know it's easier said than done, but at least, like, if years down the road, if it didn't work out, you can say, hey, at least I went for it. It didn't work out like I wanted to, but at least it's out there.
Example, I had a clothing brand.
That era too. I'm still waiting for
So it was open for 3 months. All right. First month I made a profit. All right. Second month, third month I was losing money.
half those profits for me.
Yeah. So he
I
gave
didn't
me
even buy
money.
one.
Yeah, I know.
So, I was like, at least I tried it. So I feel like you're stumping yourself because you're trying to. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Like, you're trying to do this for everyone else, but you also have to do it for yourself. So that you can at least say I tried.
Yeah.
The problem where it comes from, it's not about, it's really because I know that if this doesn't work, well, you have to have a backup plan. The biggest problem is, like I said, I refuse to go into something else that I don't want to do, whether it's like, okay, maybe I think it's like Job Corps, where a lot of times people get like a trade or something like that. Like, it's like there's things that could, like, because there's things that I could do to kind of like make a living for myself, but I just refuse to kind of take the direction. Because when I started working at fast food, I thought this was temporary. I didn't know I was gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like year after year, like 1 year turns into 2 turns into 3. It just kind of happened. And like, that's how the music video I talk about happened, where it's like I got comfortable and it's like, damn, I've been here for 5 years. I'm like, shit, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was 17 when I first started, now I'm 20. For me, it's hard to let go and say, okay, well, this doesn't work, right? I'm not gonna be a content creator, whatever. It doesn't, I tried it, but then it's like, now what do I do? Because I still have to provide for myself. That's where the struggle comes from, with like, all right, I have to provide for myself. How do I do that? And the things that I could do, or people tell me, like, I try to get a job at the hospital, like just cleaning, like maintenance or something, whatever. I don't want to do it. And again, some people have to do these kind of, everyone has to. Most people are working jobs they don't want to work. But for me, it's like, if it's not temporary, if I feel like, damn, I'm gonna be doing this for the next 20 years, 15 years, I'm like, I'm not even, if I could go back and never apply for Taco Bell, I would never got the job. Like, I would have just been an entrepreneur and just, if I could get that time back. But so I think that's what it is. Like, a lot of things is like just refusing to just be a regular person.
You don't want to work for the man, is what you're saying.
The man.
I mean, I don't got this too. I don't want to, but if I did. Like, even the job, like, where, like, if it's like, if I'm, I don't know. I guess at this point, it's like I set my mind to, like, being a content creator. Like, I have a passion for it. I love expressing my story. I want to be a filmmaker where at some point in time I want to tell other people's stories. And this is what I want to do. And it's like, if I can't do this, then it's like, what am I here for? And that's the biggest problem, where it's like, sometimes you have to accept, like, I don't have any kids. I don't have any responsibilities. So I'm only responsible for myself. And because I'm responsible for myself, I take different chances that make me feel like, you know what I mean? Again, I'm on a one-way path, but again, it might be a dead end. But if it is, like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, a lot of the struggle I talk about, there's a lot of internal things too, where,
Well, I was going to bounce off what you said, or what he was going off about, or you two, about, like, thank you. I was eating my cookie. The cookies are delicious. When we started YouTube, I basically started the channel and I kind of got them groped into that. So basically what I did was I created these MLG memeified videos, Star Wars. So basically, some of them got like 1 million views, a few 100,000 views, and then I did skits too, and a few of them got like a few thousand views too. So I was like, oh shit, we're doing something right. And along the years, I stopped doing the Star Wars stuff, and then basically did just the skits in general, and then we started doing Hot or Not and stuff like that. So at first, we had a decline of subscribers. Now we're kind of like maintaining.
I will say he is a reason for the decline.
Let me finish. It's because what happens.
It's because you got broken up with. Admit it.
What? No,
yes.
No. I gotta defend him here. It's not because of that. It's because he. Let him explain it.
No,
that is not the reason.
That is not the reason why. First off, that's not the reason why, because the way the videos are uploaded, you can tell it's still consistent.
I'm gonna back him up here. That's not the reason.
Oh no! It's not the reason. My bad. It's because he was in a relationship.
While I was in the relationship and out of the relationship, I was still making videos. Anyways, forget Shorty over here. So
he's just mad I'm right.
No, I'm going to say why.
Okay, then say it.
So basically, when you are a content creator, and he knows this as well, you have roadblocks, you have writer's block. I want to be a writer too, a filmmaker, an actor that want to be that. But very tough times. I have scripts written down and stuff like that, but it's very hard to sit down and think of something. We call it a writer's block, and so like I'll be sitting there like trying to type something, and then I'm like, well, shit, nothing's working here. So we've had skits here and there, and then like I think in 2020 like we kind of like split off, and like it was just very hard to find a good idea. So I was like, well shit, then nope, this goes the YouTube stuff, there goes the YouTube career. But then at the same time I was like, oh, maybe we can give this a try. So we did Haunted or Not, which this new episode for season 2 will be up soon, and then we did the podcast. So we had a little bit of levity? Yeah, so like right around there. So I'm still trying to do skits. It's very hard to write them because the way we worked around our skits was we would work around a few different like internet memes or something like that, where you create a story into it. But it's, especially with memes, they die out. So it's very hard to kind of get that. And then around like, especially with me, especially with personal stuff, maybe not like you, but I do have personal stuff as well. Like I was at a roadblock. I was like, oh, well, I don't know what to do anymore. Like, am I still going to be an actor? Am I still going to be a director, a writer, a filmmaker? I don't know. So, but then I told myself like, I don't want to think ahead into the future, because if I do, I'm going to become anxious. And if I think into the past, I'm going to become even more anxious. So I have a really bad anxiety, so that's where that comes from. So what I try to do is I try to look into the present. I try to look at what I'm at right now, and I'm like, okay, I can do this still, I can do this. I try to look into the future, but not like 10, 15 years like, oh, I hope this works. I just do it because I don't care as much as what other people think. I care as much as if I like it. If I like what I'm putting out there, then whoop-de-fucking-do. Give me a medal. Give me an Olympic medal. Because that's what matters. Because even though we don't get as many views as we used to, we still get a good amount of views, but like not as much as we do. But I like what we put out there, so that's what I'm happy about. And I like what I do on my Instagram, what I do in my life. So it's all about what you like, and then what comes after is what you see other people see about you. So, but the first thing that you got to worry about is, what I learned is that what makes you happy. It doesn't matter who tells you what, as long as it's legally right in the law, do what makes you happy.
And to add on top of that, what he's saying, he's 100% right. And people, if you're doing what you genuinely love, if you feel like what you're doing is making you happy, more times than not, people will tend to flock to that positive energy, because if they see someone who, even if they're not in their prime, they're not getting all the views they want, if they see that they're having a good time, they're enjoying what they're doing, they're putting heart into it, people tend to flock to that, and they say, oh shit, this guy's legit, he's doing something that he likes, So obviously, you're a person who can be hard on themselves. Easier said than done. I would definitely,
that's where a lot of it comes from, because I understand what you're saying too. Like, if I could go back, I definitely would have did all of that, because the biggest thing about, me not having that kind of mindset was I always felt like I was running out of time, because that goes into a lot of like household things where it's like, I got evicted, but I knew I was going to get evicted before I got evicted. I just didn't know when. And then even getting evicted is just, again, a lot of it is, it's me being hard on myself and not I should have took my time. I should have just, because I did have more time than I thought I did, and kind of just, you know, seeing the way how things went. Everything in life is kind of mental, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, I definitely could have and should have did a lot of better things. And that's what I'm trying to do now. Like, you know, even like, you know, I didn't want to get a job at Subway, and I'm doing vlogs right now, and I'm live streaming, and that's kind of me like taking my time, you know what I'm saying? Because I could go right back to, I could get 1 million views if I really want to. I could get 100,000 followers. I know what type of cost that's at that, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like, and that's the thing where I feel like, you know, I don't get a fair trial when it comes to how I get judged, because if I really was this kind of person, or if I wanted to be that kind of person, you know, why am I, you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people are not, they don't really know how much time has went by since, like, I started thinking about doing these videos in 2017. So it's 2021 right now. And it's like, the only thing that's stopping me from going into a Walgreens and knocking everything off the shelf is me, you know, because I never wanted to do that. It's kind of like a thing where if I'm homeless, you know what I'm saying? Because homeless is like, I'm borderline homeless right now. So if that was the case, then, you know, I'm gonna act like a homeless person. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's what they do. They steal, they you know what I'm saying? They get in fights. You know what I'm saying? That's what it means to really be in that position. And though a lot of people are not really concerned about the struggle part of Jumanne, you know, again, I don't try to make it seem like my life is the hardest. It's not, you know. I got a lot of things to appreciate, and I could have made a lot of better decisions. I've already did what I did, viral videos that's uploaded. People will remember me and know me for that. There's nothing I could do. But one thing I just want people to know, though, if I really was that, like, what you should probably ask yourself is like, why, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I got 5,000 followers on Instagram right now. I'm not okay with that. Like, I can't make no money off that. If, you know, like I said, what's stopping me from doing that right now? Like, I don't have, like, you know what I'm saying? Even before this part, I could have, you know what I'm saying? I don't have to work at Subway. I could go get 1 million followers. I did it before. I did it twice. I could do it 3 times. I could do it 4 times. I know I could. And, you know, there's a lot of anxiety. There's a fear factor that goes into doing these videos, but I know that it could create a fan base for me. And then after that fan base, I can monetize that regardless on whether it was the right thing to do or not. Again, if I truly wanted that, it would already been done. So, like I said, I'm trying to fight myself from not doing that because you know, I'm an employee. I worked at CVS. If I was working and some guy came in, some idiot just came and knocked everything off the shelf, I'd be pretty pissed. But overall, when I was working at CVS, what pissed me off more than anything was my paycheck. So, though I know there's a lot of employees that, you know, because you know, I have a lot of people that, you know, people that work in retail that they find my videos, and, you know, again, I know there's a lot of people that don't like me or whatever, but overall, if I was that kind of person, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm stopping myself from doing these things because I truly don't. Because if I wanted to do it, it would already been done. You know what I'm saying? I'll either be in jail right now for a very long time, or I'll be coming out of jail with 1 million followers. So, like I said, the only thing that stops me from doing that is me, and I've been trying to avoid that for a long time. So that's something I want to kind of get out there, because so many times, like I said, people are not coming on my channel. They're not looking at my vlogs, even my tweets. When I went viral on Twitter, like, they're not really getting it. They're kind of just, oh, this is a black guy, 1350. I don't know. Have you ever heard of 1350? That, you know, that statistic that it's kind of like a, I ain't gonna get into that. But yeah, so it's like there's slurs. There's certain slurs that, you know, white supremacists might use, because I'm going viral, so I'm getting millions of messages, emails, and I'm learning things about, like, you know, like, just things that people are saying to me that it's like, again, that controversy is attached. Like I said, that kind of controversy, if anybody does that, you're gonna, you know, people are gonna have a problem with you. But when a black guy does it, it's like, oh no, that's who they are. Like, that's, you know, that's Black Lives Matter. You know what I'm saying? So that's the part where it's like, come on, bro. There's a cultural part that where there's obviously there's a correlation with it. But again, you know, you got to understand the culture. You got to understand, and a lot of people don't understand the culture. A lot of people don't understand the pain, and, you know, just the way how you come up, and it's like, I go through it and I can't explain to you what it's really like, but I could tell you it's not good because I didn't think I was gonna make it to 25. I didn't know if I was gonna make it to 18. That's real life. Like, I ain't worried about the police. It's not just the police. It's worried about, you know, people in your neighborhood. It's like, because everybody's fighting against themselves. So that's a part where it's like, you know, even if you want to talk about the statistics, and, you know, because I know people look at me like that, you know, I've had messages, it's directly based on some race thing. At least look at it from like, if you was in that position, if you really grew up into the way how Hollywood portrays, you know, people know about the hood and whatever, what kind of person do you think you would have become growing up in that? If you was involved in that, your friends was killed, about how you think that would affect you? And like I said, I seen so much where I just like, man, I feel like I was gonna lose anyways. I'm like, and that's whatever. So, you know, if I grew up in a better environment, I wouldn't have made the choices that I made.
And for those who don't know what the hood is like because it's portrayed by Hollywood, how would you, like, brutally raw, honest, how would you describe the hood? Like,
it depends on your lifestyle. You know, if you're trying to go to college, you trying to get a job, you trying to, you know, you could make something happen. There's a lot of probability that goes into it where, you know, people, like I said, I don't want to make it where it's like things happen, you know, but I don't want to make it sound like it's going to happen. But all I can say is, like, when you're in it, it's like if I go to the basketball court and I'm like, there might not, if I go to a different neighborhood, I'm chilling with a whole bunch of, in a different area, it's like, oh, I don't know these people and I don't know what's going on in this environment. You know what I'm saying? There's always a sense of, I don't know, you know what I mean? So that sense is like, I think we're scared of what we don't know, so that it puts people in a defense type of thing, and the defense becomes like an attack, and then you have like the hood, I would say more of like a mindset with a lot of men, where it's kind of like, you know, people are searching for identity. You know, growing up, it's like there's a sense of like, oh, you know, who are you? You know what I'm saying? So that's why a lot of people join gangs, because the gang gives you, it's a symbol. It's more of like a, you know, this is who I am, this is what I'm about, because it's praised as something positive, unfortunately, you know what I'm saying, being whatever, you know what I'm saying, however you want to label it. There's a lot of like just, you know what I'm saying, uncertainty, and I think that uncertainty makes people, they don't take a chance on becoming an entrepreneur and, you know, going to college. That ain't gonna work for me. So I'm gonna sell drugs, I'm gonna rob, I'm gonna do this and that. So it's like the choice, it's like you feel like the battle is over before it even start. So that's where a lot of decision making come from. And then it's like if your friends are doing things, if they're selling drugs or whatever it is, you feel kind of like, okay, well, you're getting exposed to this at a young age. You know, same thing like with the N-word. Cause I want to make this shit, like, I hate the N-word. I think any black person hates the N-word. But that's a word that I learned when I was 5 years old. Like, I didn't even know the history or the definition behind all of that. So everything is happening at a very young, immature age. And that's where it's like, you know, that's the problem, where it's like you adapt to this so young. And the fact that, you know what I'm saying, I might, before somebody does something to me, I got to do something to them, or things like that. That whatever it is, you know, it's kind of like a real ego, but, you know, a lot of people are hurt though. That's the thing where a lot of people don't talk about. There's a lot of insecurities. You see rappers with chains and showing off money. Mm-hmm. That's insecurities. You know what I'm saying? If I get rich, why am I showing?
Compensation? Like they're trying to compensate for something.
They're trying to show people like I was worth more than what because when you're in that, the way how the culture is, people genuinely feel like I'm not worth anything. Like, I feel like, you know, but I am worth something. You know, I'm a human being, right. But I don't feel like I'm worth it. I'm not going to tell you that whether it's issues with friends or family, you know, you just kind of, so what I'm saying is there's a lot of insecurities within my culture that it reflected, whether it's I got to be tough. I got to be the toughest guy. So I'm going to join the gang. And when I join the gang, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. A lot of these decisions are not decisions that's being made because people genuinely want to make it. It might be because they feel like they have to, or they might feel like this is it for them. Like I said, gangs are more of a sense of symbolism, because I knew, like, you know what I'm saying, I don't want to get into, but the choices that's being made is kind of like, you know what I mean, what else am I going to do? You know what I'm saying, what else can I, you know, you don't have, that's why some people are like, I got to make it, I got to be a professional athlete, I got to be a rapper, because you try to get out however you can, but some people, you feel like you got to get out early, you know what I'm saying, because it starts early. So I might not, like I said, I never thought I was going to make it to 25, you know what I mean, because I don't know what's going to happen. There's a lot of self-hate too. So I don't know. The hood is, again, it depends on your lifestyle. Like, you know what I'm saying? You could, you got people that's in the hood, and then you got people that's really involved. So it depends on, it could be probability, you know, like your sister get killed, whatever, something, anything can happen. So that's the thing. But for some people do make choices. And like when you make certain choices, you're going to, like I said, if you join a gang, you're going to, there's a lot that comes with that. So the probability of certain things happening is more likely because but people accept it because they feel like they're already there. Like, it's like, I'm here, like I can't go nowhere. So everything that comes with it, I'm just gonna accept it for what it is.
Right.
So, you know, I've been there, done that.
It's like a level of comfort kind of thing where it's like you're a part of something.
Yeah, it's like it's not a choice.
Good.
It's not a choice, but I'm gonna just make the choice, and I'm gonna be proud. Instead of I'm just gonna accept it for what it is, and I'm gonna embrace it. You know, and I think that's what, like, kind of like I said, just because. I think that's kind of how the N-word became like a positive thing. It's like it only had one definition, but we're gonna take this and we're gonna turn it into something positive. You know, people are living in poverty, so people are committing crimes and doing this. But you know what? We're gonna take this and we're gonna make it something positive. So now, if you're a gangster, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's cool. That's not cool, but you know what I'm saying? That's just the way how the culture has been molded over centuries, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said. And I stopped caring what people think about me too, because I felt like, you know, a lot of people, I'm by myself too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just know, like I said, everything's mental, but there's a lot of lack of guidance, a lack of structure, and you know what I'm saying? People just, you know, we all make choices. So
yeah, which a lot to unpackage. That's really in depth, which actually I think is a good way to lean into the videos, the viral videos, how people started to know who Jumanne was. Yeah. So you kind of already answered a lot of it, but I believe it's Gion's question, number 6. Do you want to ask it?
Yeah, I felt like I was trying to answer it because I know.
No, you did a great job. You explained like in depth.
I actually have that question.
Okay.
So I'm sorry. So you already answered this, but we're gonna ask again.
Yeah.
So when you first knocked off all the things off the shelf by accident, was it like a spur of the moment, or were you trying to go for like to be viral?
That's what it was. It was viral. It was that was it. All it was. Like the one video I did was a spur of the moment where I did a video went in a Spider-Man suit, the GoFundMe. I had found out I got evicted at that moment. Like so that was like right after I found out I got evicted. I went and did a video because I was just like, shit, you know what I mean? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, you don't, like, the thing is, I would, anybody that's watching this, I would advise, like, you know, you got to be more positive. See, I realize I've developed so much of a negative mindset that I always thought the worst. Even when, like, you know what I'm saying, the worst might never come, but, you know what I'm saying? So if, like, I thought I got evicted, I'm like, you know what I'm saying? I'm thinking everything's going to go downhill from here. So I'm like, all right, well, you know, it's time to become controversial. It's time to become famous. You know, I know I could become famous. A lot of things have been premeditated. You know what I'm saying? So unfortunately, they are. I do think about like, what am I gonna say? Fuck Rite Aid, CBS. That was like, I kind of had that in my head. I didn't, you know what I'm saying? So it usually is like, the thing is, my thing is, I don't know how people are gonna react. I don't know how many customers in there. I don't know how many employees are in there. I don't know what they're gonna. So. That's my main concern about, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, man, if this, even though I'm the aggressor, I still in a position, because I know I don't have intentions on hurting nobody. Though they might just see a person like just knocking things off the shelf. They're like, oh, so I gotta stop this person. And so that is the part where it's like, you know, that bothers me because it's like, you know what I mean? Anything can happen. You know what I mean? Which
is why we kind of wanted to have you here, because you know, seeing your channel, you still get a lot of trolls who come on a live feed. I still feel like they have that impression of you. So that's why we wanted to give you a platform where you can explain yourself to show. Yeah, that ain't gonna change though. That troll, I accepted. I had to accept that. That's fine. There's people are people. Like, you know what I'm saying. There's always going to be a opposition of no matter what it is. So I had to accept the fact that that's going to continue. Why that continues that's a whole nother thing. The trolls is, to me, I'm kind of flattered by it because I'm still a regular guy. So the fact that
people even they still screen record my live streams. So when I have things like that and people make like videos of me like that, it's just a few like different kids and whatever. Like these are like young kids that's doing this. But
14 years old.
Yeah.
Nikki has a
I
troll.
hope there's not like, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty, you know what I'm saying? I hope there's not anybody old my age doing this, because that's like, you know.
At that point,
you need to get a life.
Yeah, at
like,
that point, that's not even you. That's on them. If they're
Yeah.
like spending that much time on one person, that's like unhealthy.
But that's part of life, you know what I'm saying? Because like I said, when you generate millions of views, there's gonna be that. And again, as much as I hate it, you know what I'm saying? That's what I did it. That's the price. That was what I did it for. I did it for the publicity, because as long as I can monetize it, what I did was wrong, and I'm not happy with it. But that was just the price that I was willing to pay. I'm willing to deal with this controversy, and if I can monetize it, I accept it for what it is.
That's a lot of questions.
No, no, I'm sorry I'm drawing a blank. It's just we had so many questions. You're literally just answering all of these as we're going along.
Like I said, the first video I did was in 2019. So everything was premeditated. Like I pictured by now I thought I would be famous, because when I started before COVID. So when COVID happened, that slowed everything down. And I'm like, man, if a pandemic's happening, if this is about to be like an Armageddon, there's no point in becoming famous, you know. It's like, you know, everybody's about to, you know what I mean? So, but again, like I kind of picture myself being in, like, you know, I have to do interviews. Like, people are gonna be curious at some point in time if I reach that point of fame, which I felt like I would have, where how are you gonna respond to this, you know? And again, I'm kind of just talking from emotion. Like, I'm not really, you know, I'm just, you know, but this is, you know.
Yeah, this podcast right here is raw. There's no script
raw,
to this.
raw.
This is just you just.
Yeah, like a lot of things I kind of know, like what I would say, but I'm kind of just going with it.
So you've practiced answering these questions before, have you?
Yeah, of course. It's answering them in a way that people would genuinely, I feel like people would genuinely see me. Because I'm not getting looked at just by me as a person, I also know I have to be kind of like, you know, more, I can't just be like, man, fuck that. Yeah, I did that. Like, I could be like, yeah, I did that. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. F you. F everybody. I've had those emotions, because that's where that comes from. But I'm like, that's not what I want. That's not the legacy I want to live, because that wouldn't be the truth. Though I felt I had that emotion where I was just like, I don't care about anything. I just care about myself.
Because if you did something like that, it's going back to what, like, how rappers do when they try to compensate. It's insecurity. If you were to come on and say, yeah, I did that, fuck you gonna do about it? That would look like an insecurity, and that
people wouldn't even care though.
No, they wouldn't even care.
They would be like, yeah, see, everything that people say about me is now justified. It's like certified now. Like, it's like, and that's the thing, where I'm looking at this, I'm like, damn, I could understand I'm an asshole, I'm a jerk, I agree, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's like, I also know me. I'm like, man, like I said, if I grew up if I had a different experience, if I had different, you know what I'm saying, things could have been different. You know what I mean? So that's just what it is. Because I am a person where I'm just, you know, I don't want to be like, you know, this ruthless person. But again, I do have that side to me. I'm always gonna, you know, try to be honest. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I could be clearly I could be a disrespectful, like, you know what I'm saying? But that comes from experience, though. Like I said, that's
comes from the environment where something like that was kind of the norm, right? When you grew up in, like,
it'd be normal
in the ghetto area.
Yeah, to do things like that. I mean, to just be whatever, like, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow. What question do we ask now? Because, I feel like I've done. Miguel, do you want Gian? I want you.
Gian hasn't talked.
You've barely. You had that one rant. That was it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, with the pot, like, you can. However, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, whatever you're doing, like, if you need to cut it short, whatever.
We'll cut, but, like, you know,
yeah,
the thing with me, like, I'm always trying to make sure that, like, everyone gets a chance to speak.
Oh, yeah, I got you.
So, you know, because I don't want to just be like, I'm asking questions and they're just there sitting. I want to make sure that, like, Gion's being able to say something.
I could ask that.
So.
Obviously, you've talked to us about, like, you know, your life and stuff like that, but, like, do you have any specific goals now, like, as of moment?
That's the problem.
Yeah.
You know, that's the problem. I never had any goals. I never had any backup. So that's where this kind of leads to the point where it's just like, if this doesn't work, then again, I hate to incriminate myself, but like I said, I was at a point where I was thinking about selling drugs, but that didn't. I'm glad it wasn't my thing, but that was like, I was already at the point where it's like, you know, I went to college, I did the 9 to 5, tried it, but I felt like, you know, was this really me? Like, I tried to do it, but it wasn't really me, because I didn't have that in me to pursue a major or a minor or get a certificate. And that's the problem with a lot of people in my environment, where a lot of us don't have that. I could do this. Because some of the, even if they want to do it, they don't know how to, or they might not feel like they had the resources. Even today, it's like, I don't want to do anything. I want to be a content creator. You know what I'm saying? Fortunately, some people want to be rappers, whatever. It's unfortunate. It's a dead end. Like, I wish people had more things to do, but unfortunately, again, when you get influenced, to kind of, this is cool, like, you know, being a professional athlete, being a rapper, being a gangster, whatever, gang member, whatever, young kids get stuck in that mentality where this is it. And so again, I didn't have anything else. Football didn't work, rapping didn't work. I wasn't even thinking about being a YouTuber, because I wish I would have started that a lot earlier. But then it was just like, all right, man, maybe I'm about to, you know, commit some crimes. You know what I'm saying? Like, not like some real crimes. Like, so I'm like, at that point, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna be deader in jail. You know what I'm saying? So I've seen it. I've seen it so many times where it's like, I know how this is gonna play out. I know it's not gonna work. So it was more like I didn't have nothing to lose.
So what I've learned is, like, especially with me, when people make goals, what I've learned is, like, people who just do the big goal, like, 10 years from now, the main goal, have a family, you know, all that shit. But what people didn't realize or don't realize, even still, is that you have to make smaller goals. So recently I've took up the mantle to go into the Olympics for 2024. So right now,
that's a big goal. But, you know.
No, well, so that's a big goal. So right now, but I'm having, so before I can even get into that goal, I have to do smaller goals. So right now, what I'm doing is, one of my small goals is get to a specific time, get to a specific PR, after that, then I can reach out to people, coaches and stuff like that. So I have very smaller goals, because if I focus more on the main goals, I realize that my anxiety takes over. I'm like, oh shit, I don't know how the hell to get there. So what I do is I set up small goals for myself, and I work onto that, because sometimes when you focus more on a main goal, that's all you want to do to get to. But when you can work on a smaller goal, that can branch out into different things. So instead of having one big goal from 10, 15 years from now, you can have a goal like a year from now, and that can branch off to a different set of goals. So that's what I've learned to do. And so, like, with that, I can, like, okay, so in a year from now, let's see where I'm at, and then I can branch off to there. I can do this, do that. Yeah. Especially with work too. Like, I'm only doing a minimum wage or just above minimum wage. I'm trying to get a second job, or try to get a higher paying job. So even if I have to work 2 different jobs, so I'm trying to look at this as like, all right, I want to get to there, but I have to do this first. So I have to work towards that. So that's what I've learned, and it's helped me, because knowing me, and especially these guys knowing me, I not mentally insane, but, you know, I have, you know, little problems in my life, so that has helped me a lot. Like, a lot. So I think maybe if you start maybe trying to put smaller goals, worry about a big goal, but work on those smaller goals, and then those smaller goals will be able to branch out into other different places. So
I agree with you 100%, because I did the whole focusing on the big goal, and then in the steps when things are not, you got a ladder and things that you're kind of falling off, then you start looking at the big goal, and it's like you do have to take steps, you know what I'm saying?
Right. And it's like, you may have someone who's an influence to you, and you may think, okay, in order to get to where he's at, I have to do the exact same things that he's doing. But then it's like, when you start to realize that the things you're doing aren't going as good as that person, or they're not going the exact same way, you start to freak out. You become overwhelmed. You're like, oh my God, I'm never going to make it. You start hyperventilating. Because exactly everything just comes crashing down to you at once you start thinking like that. But Gion's entirely right.
Yep.
You know, it's kind of like the mentality of live day by day. Start a small goal. Let's say the small goal is to, let's say, put out your next music video, make another song.
Because what I was gonna say, there was a point in my time where I did accept being a regular person, where it's like the goals was, I realized that the goals was the problem. It was affecting, just like, oh, if I can't have that, then. So there was a time where, this is where the whole minimum wage thing goes, where, again, I do have to take responsibility, because it's like I could have did things that I just didn't want to do. So, you know what? Go ahead, because, you know, that's on me.
I was just gonna say, you know, like, let's say, for example, you start off with a small goal of, like, making a new song, to eventually the big goal is to be like to put out music that the world knows, that everyone sees. You become a household name. That's like the major goal. Obviously, you don't want to just say, oh, I'm going to become a household name, blah, 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 just like that. You know, obviously, you have to work to that goal by goal. You can have that level of confidence by saying, you know, one day I want to be a household name. There's nothing wrong with that, but you can't just expect that to come like overnight. So what he's, you know, topping off what Gian said, you do a small goal. Like, let's say you work on your next song. From there, you know, okay, with this song, I want to put out a video. Maybe you find out that you're more happy making videos in general, not just music videos, but videos rather than making music. So then that branches off to, okay, let me start focusing more on videos rather than musical content. And then from there, you know, you try to ask around a few people that you know, you put a small film together, you send it out to brands to see if you can make like some sort of indie film into it. You know, just speaking out in the open, just things like that. You know, he's entirely right, because you may end up in a place where you are a household name, but it's not the way you expected it.
Yeah, definitely.
So, you know, I guess thinking about the big goal can be very stressful.
Yeah,
and if you don't have,
I want to recommend that for anybody, because I made that was my biggest mistake. You know what I'm saying? And then just not having a backup plan overall. You know, because it's like everything is not going to work for everybody, regardless on whether if you want whatever you want, or it might not work out the way you want it to work out.
So, what is your backup plan now? Like, let's, you know, right now you're working minimum wage job. You're trying to get better pay. Let's say for some reason that all falls down tomorrow. What's your backup plan?
If it all falls down tomorrow, I'm clout chasing. Like, I'm not,
at least he's not. I appreciate the honesty.
Like, it's because like I'm not in a position where I could, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm borderline homeless, bro. Like, that's not a joke. So I just was like, but again, with the time that I do have, I think I was kind of, you know, a lot of it, like if somebody came to me and was like, you know, had a job like, oh, you could get $25 an hour doing this, whatever, I would definitely have to consider it. You know what I'm saying? I would definitely have to be like, oh, maybe I should get a job like this. But that's the biggest problem that I'm fighting against. You know, I'm fighting against myself, where you know, so many years have went by that I kind of don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's just being so lost within yourself. You know, there's a lot of people that can relate to that. You know what I'm saying? Where it's just, again, I'm a little older than you. I'm like 7 years.
About 7 years, yeah. We're 21 now.
Again, I don't want to use my age, because, you know, there's people that's in my position, my age, that's doing things a lot better than I'm doing. But I think a lot of that time is, you know, just working at Taco Bell. You know, we used to work with people that, you know, that was been there for 12 years, 16 years,
and they're still there to this day.
Yeah,
which
I'm not even gonna name people, but there's people that's still there to this day. So it's just like that made me want to separate myself from just being just, you know, having that's what. But again, you know, like I said, things are not gonna work, and life is nothing's guaranteed but death. Sometimes you just gotta accept certain things, and that was my biggest problem with just accepting that. So, but to answer your question, the truth is, I don't know. If things would kind of, you know, went like, what would I do? Again, unfortunately, you know what I'm saying, like.
Well, see, I don't want this to just be like us just giving him advice. I want this to be more of a conversation.
Because I respect. You know what I respect about everything? I like the way how yous are telling me this, because I have people that tell me, you know, message me, but the things that people be saying, like it's sometimes how you say something can really impact on whether or not if I even listen to it. Like, I respect like everything on the way he's saying. You know, you got it. You don't just focus on the main goal, because you know, focus on little things that can branch out to other things. Definitely, you know what I'm saying? Like, I respect that. You know what I'm saying? It's just, again, you know what I mean? I definitely, everything I did, if I could go back, I would do things differently. You know what I'm saying? Those videos would never exist. You know what I'm saying? Because I would have known, you know, I would have known better. You know what I mean? And I still could listen to that, you know what I'm saying? Because I still do have time where, you know what I'm saying, I could still take my time and, you know, focus on different things.
Yeah, there are things in, like, my life. I mean, obviously, I'm a lot younger than you, like seven years younger. But, like, there's things in my life that I wish I could redo over again. Hit the reboot button, just redo it again with the knowledge that I have now. But I can't, and it sucks. Because everyone has that. If you've never had a regret in your life, I mean, I don't know what you must.
That doesn't exist.
Exactly. I want to know this person's secret, but without failure, there's no such thing as success. So you have to. No matter what, you're going to hit a hurdle. You are going to go through something. You are going to get knocked down, no matter what. But you have to. No one else can pick you up but yourself. You yourself have to, you know, pick yourself up. So no matter what happened. Whatever regrets that we have, I know for sure I've had things that in my life I wished happened differently, whether to me or that I've done. But there's no way around that. What I can do is I can work on that and then just become, just try to do my life the way that I want it to. So.
I got you. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm not against advice at all. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, people could tell you what to do or give you a direction, but it's like you still got to get it on your own. And it's like sometimes like doing things on your own is kind of like, like I said, it goes into the insecurities of not believing in myself. So it's like, you could tell me this, that, and there, and I'd be like, but I still feel like long term that might not work for me.
And again, I would just say, even if it doesn't work out the way you want to, at least it's out there. At least you could look back and say, okay, it didn't work out, but I did put my content, something I created, into the world. And whether if it takes a month, 10 years from now for people to notice it, at least it's there. Yeah. So, I wouldn't have a regret about that. I would have a regret about not putting that up. If you do have something that you want to do, like you say, you want to make more music, obviously if you have the time to, the job and finances and essentials come first, but if you have the time, definitely go do it. Go through with it.
The money thing, I mean, I'm sure with music is like, it's really a financial thing, because like I'm not too familiar with heavy metal, but even like the instrumentals, for copyright reasons, you would have to pay for that. Like I'm not sure how much it would cost for you to get, but then you got to pay for your own studio time. You got to pay for your own production. You got to pay for your music video. If you do a mixtape or an album, you got to pay for like cover photos. So that's the thing too. Like I ain't never really had the financial to invest in it, you know what I'm saying, and then where I can make that money back. So it's like if I'm doing it, I'm kind of doing it hoping like you know what I'm saying, I'm doing it because I like to do it, I want to do it, but then a lot of things is too like I need to be able to provide for myself now too. So at that point it's only just a hobby, and I'm not focused on a hobby, you know what I'm saying. I'm about to be 30 years old, like I need to pay my bills. So that's kind of the part where it's like, you know what I'm saying, the process of it, sometimes it's like, you know what I'm saying, like it's like, damn, if this doesn't work, then I do have to figure out what I'm going to do. So but I just kind of said, fuck, I'm going to make this work, I'm going to do whatever it takes, and it's just more of like just an all-in type of mentality.
Right. I mean, and everyone's got to start somewhere. Age doesn't even matter if you want to make music. You have, I saw it on one of your videos, I forget what the song was called. It's just you with your iPhone, and there's like a thing in the background. It's
the green screen. The
green screen, and then there's like a black thing behind your phone. You have the mic here. I forget what that black thing in the back's called, if you know what I'm talking about.
Are you talking about the
It's like that. You have like the phone set up, and then it's like a big thing behind it. Kind of curves in like that a little. I forget what that's called. Is that just the...
I think you're talking about the pop filter. You
pop
have
filter.
The microphone and the pop filter.
Pop filter, but then there's like something behind the phone.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's for the sound. I forgot what I can't even think what it's called.
And you have that, and you have the pop filter. You got the mic.
It took me time to get that though. Like, you know what I'm saying. That's something. Like, honestly, that came from like unemployment. Like that was like money that I wouldn't have gotten if I'm. You know what I'm saying. So that was whatever, you know what I'm saying. But like that was another thing, like, you know what I'm saying, and again, I made mistakes. Again, I don't really talk about my gambling addiction, but like when I met you didn't know, but I was a gambler. I was a full gambling addict. I was losing my paychecks.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
when we worked at Taco Bell, when I first met him back in 2017, he was like the guy that anytime I needed advice about something, I would go to him at work, because whether it was with women, life in general, because he was a person, although only being 24, you seemed like you had a lot of experience, and I could tell you were coming from a place at heart, not to just say, oh, you're doing this wrong, you're young, I'm more wise. You were doing it because you genuinely cared, and you didn't want me to make the same mistakes that you had made.
Yeah, I mean, with you, Nick, is like, you know what I'm saying, especially when we talked in the office about, I don't know if you want to get into like that, okay, but girls and things like that. Cause
it's whatever. Go ahead.
What I really liked about you is like, I seen a part of myself in you when it came to girls. I'm like, oh yeah, like Nick, he's a good guy. Like, you know what I'm saying?
What advice did you tell him? I'm just wondering.
I wanna know this too.
Like, cause there's certain girl, like, I don't know if you want to talk about, right? Remember like the girl from
you don't have to say names, but
the girl, but from a different, she wasn't even from America.
Yeah.
Well, because here's the thing. This advice has not helped him, so I just want to.
Don't make him feel bad.
That's where me and him. Because it's not. That's why me and I relate to him, because it's not him. It's the girls that really. Sometimes you girls are kind of can't.
I will say a lot of it was me, because when I was about 19, 18 years old, I was kind of an incel. Do you know the kind of person who's very derogatory to women if he doesn't was able to go on a date with them? I'll admit, I'll say right here, I was like that for a while. I'm not like that anymore. I've really worked.
You was like what? You was like
so. when I was like 18, 19 years old, I was getting to a point in my life where I was just sick of getting rejected by girls, not being able to go on dates. So eventually I kind of just became like very hateful. Not like to the point where I was.
I feel that.
I got to the point where like a few times I had kind of, not like cuss, but I've like said derogatory things to a girl. I'm not proud of it, but I'll say right here.
Directly to them or just in general?
Via text, so directly to them.
Yeah,
so
I mean, that part,
I'm not proud of that, but it's something that is, I've done. It's not who I am. Over the past 2 years, I've worked on being a better person. Like, yeah, they've helped me, but it's like we've talked about, it's a lot of doing it within ourselves. Anyone can give you all the advice, but I said, okay, this is just not how, not just women, but people in general should be treated. I need to work on myself. I need to be more of a respectful person. Yeah. And ignore what this man said. Your advice, I always took into consideration, but it was just on me, the reason why I wasn't able to get. Oh, okay. Well, so everyone has that where it's like they've done something that they're not proud of. I'll be honest, that's how I was when I was 18, 19 years old, but I'm 21 now. I try to just be more respectful. If something just doesn't work out, I just try to move on.
I always looked at you as the guy that wanted to, for me, it's like you wanted to be right with the girl. You wanted to do the right thing and respectful, but then it doesn't work out. And then like there's a consistency of continuing to get rejected. And then it's like, you know what, fuck all of it. And then that's when the disrespect comes in, because it's like.
That's kind of what happened, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Can I tell you a story?
Go ahead.
So legit, not even kidding, Nikki would like plan dates with like all these girls every Saturday night, right? So then for some reason like Nikki would always get rejected the Saturday afternoon. Every single girl would either ghost them, say like, no thank you.
I think at one point it happened like 3 dates in a row. Yeah. One girl was like, yeah, and then like she never got back to me. The first one, second one, like the morning of, was like no. Third one, last minute. Hey, you're gonna hate me, but yeah.
Consistently every Saturday.
And there'd be me. Oh, guys, I'm going on dates with 2 different.
Yeah, this kid.
Oh, so you get the guy that gets all the
here's
girls.
how the podcast works. He's the smart one. I like to consider myself the funny one. He's the good-looking one. Nothing else. That's all he's got going for him.
Yeah.
You don't got the brains. Well, he's kind of smart. He's kind of
the
smart.
blonde kicks in.
Like, do you put in the work, or they kind of come to you? What you?
I do. It's both. I guess it's both. Yeah.
I don't know how you might probably dress well, because girls.
I do try to dress well.
You seem like you could. You could dress a little bit. So
I try to help him out with dressing up. He needs to get new shoes. That's
the same Vans for 2 years.
All right, they're still in good condition. I don't want to hear it.
It doesn't matter.
What do you mean?
Have you seen those hands? They look like they've been through World War II.
Not really. You can still see the color in them. They're only black and white. Maybe the bottoms are a little worn out because I walk. I feel like we were talking about something before.
I mean, I don't know what we was talking about. But, like,
I asked something about advice.
It just went off the rails.
Yeah.
That's what happens with this podcast.
I think I was talking about like, even though when you knew me, like you didn't know
right.
like what I was. So it's just like, because I was so comfortable. I've been working there, so I had like. Like I kind of knew, I try to be, I know you wasn't there when I became a manager, right? I don't think you was.
I think very short time. I remember seeing you with the button shirt.
Oh, yeah. So like I was chill. Like I wasn't, you know what I mean? Because but the thing is like I said, like just the relationship I had with you, I was just like, oh yeah, this kid seemed like, you know what I mean? So
which I appreciate. We had a good relationship, I think, at work. I looked at you for advice. You gave me the advice. We were cool with each other, and
I didn't even look at it as advice. I just looked at it because like I can't, like I trouble with girls, so I didn't feel like I was just trying to like with you, like when these girls when things kind of don't go, I was just felt like I give you someone to talk to, you know what I'm saying, just because it was like that's what that Taco Bell was at the time. It was kind of like chill environment, you know what I mean. So
at that Taco Bell, there was like. Through the time I worked, I knew like 30 people. I only ever had problems with like one of them. Everyone else, I'm not kidding. Every other person, him, all the other people involved, managers, all super chill people. They were just the job sucked ass. I'd rather sell curtains out of my pockets than do that. But the people there were amazing.
They really. I know. I kind of was like, because I reached the point where I was just like. But yeah, the people were good, you know what I'm saying? And it was definitely chill. For me, that was kind of like, that was the best work environment I had. It was just the job itself. But it was I don't care about the job. It was the money. And that's the part I pissed me off. But
yeah. What I really like about you is that you are open to advice, which, even if it's coming from someone young like myself, I like the fact that you take it into consideration. Because like you said, it's all about how you approach someone.
Yeah,
if you say, hey, listen, man, what I think you're doing, here's what you could do, here's my advice or what I would do, rather than saying you're doing this wrong, what you should do, It's all about how you present yourself, how you come off to someone. So
yeah, for anyone for this podcast, if there's any of your fan base that come to me and you watch my videos and you completely, and again, it's nothing wrong to be completely against what I did, but like sometimes the way I get approached, that's not gonna work. If you're more like you could be angry at what I put out there, right? But if you approach me like that, and if it's more, and if I'm looking at it, I'm not trying to. If people approach me very aggressively, very
derogatory,
that's what you're gonna get from me. You're not gonna get like, I'm chill right now, I'm cool. But if you approach me a way that the way how I get, like through emails and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, you could get a very cool person. I could be like, yo, I'll be like, yeah, bro, I was, you know what I'm saying? I hated those videos. I was wrong. But if it's something, you're going to get what you give with me. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So if you give me like, oh, F that guy, you know what I'm saying? You can expect that right back. So.
Right. So it's all about treat people how you want to be treated.
Yeah.
The last question.
Yeah. Take it.
So for everyone out there struggling, what would you say to them? What advice would you give to?
It depends on what you're struggling with. I'm big on depression. I'm big on people that's committing suicide. I would tell you that I know a lot of times people, one thing I hated when I used to go to guidance counselors, and I never had like a real psychiatrist, but I've sometimes people tell you like, suicide is like, it is like, it's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. It is a temporary problem, whatever it is that you're going through, especially like kids I know I have a young fan base, so kids that's getting bullied and whatever, or life is going to be what you make it, you know what I'm saying? So it's like mentally, it's like, it is a roller coaster, but it might not be as bad as what you think it is, you know what I'm saying? Because like I said, when I look back at things, it's like, damn, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I was going through that, but I could have had a different mindset about it. And I know some people are alone and they feel like, you know what I'm saying? Like that internal conflict that people are going through. The best advice I could say is like, it's not over yet. You know what I'm saying? Like that's all I could say, because there's so many times where I thought it was over and it wasn't, and that's something that I would say is just keep pushing, continue to push. And I know for some people it's like, it's hard for them to see that, because sometimes, whatever it is that you're going through in life, you might feel like this is it. But there's been so many times where I thought that it was over and it wasn't. So it's hard, but you got to keep moving forward. And like right now, I'm working at Subway. Like, I don't want to work here. I feel like, whatever. And I'm still trying, like, I'm still willing to try to do something. Like, I don't have to do nothing crazy, you know what I'm saying? But just keep trying, keep pushing forward. That's what I'm doing.
Just, and I think with that, living day by day, rather than looking at the big goal.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, because when you say, oh, it's over, that's you looking at the big goal, but a negative way. If you just live day by day, I'm here now, I'm alive, I still have opportunities to do things.
Yeah, and sometimes I look at things that that humble me. You know what I'm saying? People. There's always someone that's in a worse position. Like I seen a guy that was he was working out, but he had no limbs. Like he had, like he just. So videos like that, because you see a whole bunch of things on the internet that there's always somebody going through worse than you, and try to use that as like, you know what I'm saying? Try to use, like I said, push forward. That's what I would hope, because you never know. You know what I mean? Things can get better, but I don't want to be the person that says like it's gonna get better, because some people, I don't know what people are going through, you know what I mean? But it's not as bad as you think it is, you know what I mean? Like, if things were as bad as I thought they were, I wouldn't be here right now. So, and I'm still here. So,
and well, amen to that, Jumanne. I want to personally thank you, along with from Miguel and Gian, for coming on. We appreciate all the advice, all the things you've said. You're very good speaker, very intelligent, because you've gone through experience. So I want to thank you for sharing that with us.
I appreciate
and
you
I think
me, bro.
If you were to put that to some kind of film or script, I think you could it's just an idea.
It's all about getting it out there, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I tried to. This is what that's what got me into vlogging, was just like, it really was just expressing myself,
I just want to say one thing before we end. If you do happen to, make it into like a real thing, Rhode Island's Film Festival, when's the entry due? January? Usually around there.
Usually early bird
So if you ever get something out, just look into it. You know, put it out. If they do like it, they will put it out. So,
and again, it's Rhode Island, but at least it's getting put on a platform where more people can see it.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. Like I said, Nick, it was obviously, you know what I'm saying. If it was a random person, I'd probably be like, I'll have to look more into it. But I was like, definitely, I'll do it. And you know, I don't mind. You know, this is networking. Like I see what you guys are doing. Use a working your platform.
Oh, I was afraid that was gonna happen. Damn. One of these days. I'll fix it later. Just continue what you're saying.
But yeah, like I said, like I'm glad to be here because this is for me. This was like something like, you know, this is kind of still like I'm working with guys that's still trying to work. Like, you know what I'm saying. So it's, you know, it doesn't have to be fast because like I said, I was trying to make things happen fast.
Right.
It doesn't have to happen fast. I could do podcasts. I could do network with other things and take a slow process. So I'm glad to be here because this is something that, you know,
it's almost like a business deal in a way because it's like you have fans that may come to us, and we have people who watch us that may start looking into you and may be interested.
Yeah.
Granted, not big, but it's a start. And
and that's why I'm trying to be more like, you know, it's okay to. It doesn't have to be now, you know, because that's when the you know the bad choices start coming in.
Right.
So I don't want to make bad choices, you know, for those who think I might, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people. Or that CVS shit, like I said, I know some people think it's funny, and there's been times where I laughed at it, but there's a lot of pain behind that where it's like, bro, that's not what I want. You know,
One more thing. So it's about the Pop Smoke videos.
Yeah.
So obviously we know that went viral. Are you aware that was actually a meme on Instagram?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that's how it went viral. It went viral on TikTok.
But
How many views?
I don't even. But I just want to say how I came across that in the weirdest way possible. Do you know what 21st century humor is? I don't know if you've seen. So it's just videos.
Oh yeah, because people take my. Oh no, I don't know it. No, I don't.
It's like. Okay, so it's just levels upon levels of irony where they'll play like old vines, but they'll just be like set up in the most ironic way, completely just random bullshit flashing, going all over the place. It's basically like a modern day YouTube poop. And it started, I think, around like March 2020. So one day I'm on Instagram, I'm looking at, you know, these meme pages. All of a sudden I'm coming across a video like that, and I just see, hey, rest in peace, Pop Smoke. And I went, oh my God, that's Jumanne. I even saw the Jumanne shirt. I was like, I used to work with that guy. Yeah. Like, obviously, you know, I know it's something that brought you a lot of pain, but I was like,
no, it's like I get this all the time. People tell me all the time.
Holy shit, I knew that guy, and like anytime I'd see you walking, I was like,
it's like that one Leonardo DiCaprio movie.
That meme where it's like, I was like, oh shit. It was just, you know, obviously I don't condone that you did that, but it was just so weird to see someone that I personally knew on something like that usually only like iconic memes was a part of. So I was like, damn, bro. It was interesting. I just wanted to let you know.
I get that. I get it all the time, man. Cause like I said, the video, people tag me and like, you know, look at they probably didn't like my followers. Like they see all of that, and if I didn't get credited or something, you know what I'm saying. So I see a lot of that.
Yeah.
But that's what this was about. I kind of. You know what I'm saying? Even the RIP Pop, like again, that's another thing. Should have never did that. Just the RIP Pop Smoke alone, I was 100% wrong for that. Just because of, you know, black people really get killed, and that's just something that, you know, people are laughing about that, you know, but there's a lot of pain, you know. I messaged his brother too, like, but the thing is, overall, like, should have never did it, period. But it is what it is. So that was why I did it. You know, I kind of believe that it could do that. It could have that effect where it could get millions of views.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. It was an honor to have you.
We are on YouTube, Instagram. He's on Instagram. What are your socials? What are your
plug yourself in.
Plug yourself in.
See that at Jumanne.
We'll put it in the description, but
just as of right now, because like honestly, with that I want to move away from the Jumanne struggle, but that's where like if you type in my name, that's where everything pops up. Right. That's what people know me as. So I'm kind of just, as long as I'm still working at Subway, I'm probably running around with that whole Jumanne struggle thing until something works for me, but right now it's at Jumanne struggle. That's it.
On all platforms?
Yeah,
Right.
anything.
We'll put all that in the description.
And we're on iTunes, Pandora, Amazon,
Spotify,
Bibbidi Bobbidi, everything.
Yeah.
So, thank you for coming on. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah.
We do this thing where we ask Miguel what his final words are. But today, since you're the guest, I know you gave your advice, but what would be your final word if it was your final word? What would be the final word?
Spur of the moment word.
What would you say?
I want to say I think I honestly appreciate the way how you guys, you know, talk to me. Because my biggest thing was like, all right, I know Nick, but then it's like I don't know how, because, you know, I seen, you know, you got out of work. I seen like, so I'm like, oh, he could, you know, he actually could look at that from a way where it's like that applies to him, you know,
Right.
just my videos and how, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know you and your but everyone has their own opinions. So I didn't know walking into this interview, was I walking into like guys that was kind of like, man, fuck this guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and cause even with you, like Nick, I remember the last time I saw you when we was walking, you know, you kind of gave me like a pound and I felt like, I get the feeling of people that I know, like a lot of people change the way they feel about me, like personally. So those videos played a big effect in not just how random people might feel about me, but personally. So I'm like, what is my relationship with Nick now? Because I know that Nick could, you know, it's like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, but the way how you, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, all right, it's
Right.
cool. You know what I'm saying? You're talking to me like I'm a person, like, and
Well,
I'm
'cause
not,
you are.
but I don't get all that. Sometimes I get a lot of the things that I get. It's like, I don't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's
it's
more
just-
of like, you
I don't know. We just try to be genuine people. People on the internet, they don't care about treating people like human beings. They just
Yeah.
want to get a good laugh. But you know, we wanted to show people who you really are and who you
Yeah.
can be. So that's
Yeah.
why we wanted to have you on this platform. That's
Yeah.
why you're different from the other two guests we had, where one's a DJ, the other's a rapper. You were a person who, you know, represents their brand because you are a person who does struggle, but you're a real human being
Yeah.
who has a brand to them that they're very conflicted with. So I just thought you were a very interesting person to have on, and I'm glad that you were able and you wanted to come on. So again, thank you for that.
Definitely. So yeah, that's why I said like I appreciate you guys and like anybody watching this. Like I said, you know,
That was a wholesome final words. Thank you, bro.
nah, for real though, because you know that was my main concern is because I'm at a position where it's like I don't know who know, like, you know, when you get millions of views, it's like I'm not famous, but like there's people that know me that I don't know.
Right.
So that's where it's like, and I don't know what they think about me, and so that's something that I might have to, as long as I'm a content creator, that I'm always concerned about how people, you know what I'm saying.
You heard it here first, folks. Make sure
Yeah.
to check him out at Jumanne Struggled. I will leave all his links in the description. Jumanne, thank you for coming on, and everyone, have a God bless day.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.